skill and talent can be developed through hard work, good strategies, persistence, dedication, and input from others. Where focus goes, energy flows. So focus your energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
Kristian Lavolsi, we are back. It is Thursday, and this is the hot seat. How is your week going so far?
I am pumped. It has been an extraordinary week, totally mad, and there is so much goodness coming out of it. Tonight, I'm actually interviewing someone really, really famous and someone I've admired for a long time. And they actually reached out.
You were going to share who it was for a minute then. I was like, oh, wow.
Nope, I'm not going to share. I'm not going to share. People will have to jump onto the podcast in the next few weeks to find out. They are incredibly inspirational. They've written so many books, and many of them are actually internationally bestsellers across multi-platform. And he's just released a new book. And I have read at least 4 of his books. And I have, as soon as I knew he wanted to jump on the podcast, I actually went and purchased the new book. And I started reading it. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And I've almost finished. And so I've got lots of questions to ask him. But, yeah. And also, we're in Sydney tomorrow for the next 3 days with our Momentum Weekend. So I see that you have gone to the hairdressers in preparation for the 3-day event. Look at you. That is a Tracy move. You know that.
I know. So, I did that just for her, just for Tracy.
Yeah, no, it's fabulous. So no, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. So we're not here to talk about how amazing our lives are. We have one person that's just come on to watch. It's great when I see that little eye turn up. Now there's a few more. All right, this is good. So what are we here to talk about today on the hot seat?
I'm super pumped for this topic because, as you know, this is something that is definitely in the forefront of my mind all the time. We're talking all about personal development, and I always laugh when you like to call me a personal development junkie. It is very true. Any opportunity I can to learn more information, to watch something, to listen to something, I am there. So for any of the Simones out in the world, this hot seat episode is dedicated directly for you. So I'm super excited about this. So last week on our LinkedIn platform, we asked our followers and our viewers, what are you doing for your professional development? Now, we had a couple of different responses where people could answer. So 13% said that they get a lot of their development through influencers like Tony Robbins and those type of profiles. 52% of people said that it came from books, and 22% said that they did courses. So that was really interesting to see the breakdown of what people are actually doing and where are they looking or seeking for the answers and to further themselves. So my first question for you today, Kristian, is what is the difference between personal development and professional development? Because I actually don't know I was really using the terms right. You just use them interchangeably.
Well, I think that's what junkies do. They don't really know what they're actually doing. No. So look, both actually help people get unstuck, and I think that's a really important distinction. Similarity, but both are incredibly different. All right. So personal development is a lifelong process. It provides a path for individuals to assess their skills and also their qualities, but also consider their aims and set goals in order to grow. Okay. Now, personal development is about an individual change, and it's about individual growth. Okay. It's all about looking inward and focusing on the ways to better yourself. Okay, it increases self-awareness, self-esteem, increases your skills, but also creates this incredible fulfillment for your aspirations. Okay, and I like to always break down professional development to 5 clear areas for people, and that's mental, social, spiritual, emotional, and also physical. All right. But professional development, Simone, on the other hand, is learning to earn or maintain credentials such as academic degrees, formal courses like the AICD, which is the Australian Institute of Company Directors, so that I can retain my status, attending conferences and other bits and pieces to get PD points, so to speak. It is around that continued training and education for individuals in their career focus, right? The goal is to keep up to date on current trends as well as help develop new skills for the purpose of advancement in your field or even a new field, right? So, but the areas are endless, which means you might focus on soft skills and technical skills, right? But it's purely around career development.
Yeah. You still had 12 seconds.
Oh, wow. I thought I'd actually gone over time.
No.
Oh, okay.
Getting quicker and quicker with that timer. But yeah, thank you for that, because I think it's really important that we do understand the difference, because I certainly thought it was kind of the same thing until I was really looking at what questions I was going to ask you today and went, oh, okay, there's a big difference here that I'm probably not even aware of. So that's really, really helpful for that. So I guess following on from that, my next question for you is, how do you really, in terms of what people have responded to this poll on, we're talking about influencers, we're talking about books, and we're talking about doing courses. So how do you work out what's the right method for you? Where should you seek the right personal development for you? Because it's great to follow people and get excited. We all know the power of what Tony Robbins can do, but how do we work out if that's in our best interest for our personal and professional development?
Look, I think again, you've got to make that clear distinction that both of them are different. Okay, so Tony Robbins, in my humble professional opinion, is outstanding at personal growth. Okay, so I really would table that around the personal growth area, even though he does business mastery and a whole bunch of other things. UPW is his signature program, and then so is Date with Destiny. So there is big programs. And excuse me, Stanford University have recently finished a study on Tony Robbins' work. I think they did a 12-year study. If you attend a Tony Robbins event, you actually will be more successful in life. So I think that, but in professional, you've got to make the distinction of going to professional organizations. Like, I can't get my AICD PD points unless I go to AICD events. And as a professional director and independent chairman and director of other people's companies, that is a credential that is kind of required now, because it makes sure that you're up to date with the latest trends and the latest best practices in being a company director. It also is there for me to protect myself, so that I know what risk position I'm going to be putting myself into. In terms of then looking at them independently, professional development could also be going to work with a coach that is going to help you on marketing. So you don't necessarily have to go to a full-blown organization to do that. That's a distinction you have to make, whether you go to a university or whether you go to the School of Hard Knocks, right? So there are people that have started their careers in the mail rooms of organizations and worked themselves up to CEO without a degree, okay? But what are the things that they did? What are the steps they took along that journey? So I think it's a really personal decision, Simone, in terms of which way you go. And it's a very hard question to answer within 2 minutes, because there are so many moving parts to it. And obviously I don't want to give anyone the wrong impression in terms of what's best. I mean, I've gone to university. I've got an MBA. I go to PD events all the time for ARCD and a whole bunch of other organizations. But I also have big impactful coaches that I work with that haven't gone to those universities because I want what they know. I want to know the practitioner skill.
Mm-hmm. So is it fair to say that it's different stages? You'll need different things, whether you're working with coaches or influencers, or whether doing a course or some sort of academic degree. It's different phases of your life that these things will serve you at different places.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And again, like I said earlier, both professional and personal development help you become unstuck. So most people, when they go and do these things, they're stuck, which is not obviously the best time. Like, I went back and did my MBA. I wasn't stuck. And a lot of people ask me, what are you doing? What are you doing going to do an MBA? Like you're a successful entrepreneur, you failed, you succeeded, and now you're going back to university. And I'd never been to university, and that's the reason why. I wanted to understand if all this practical knowledge that I had developed over the years, if there was a theoretical component to it, and I was blown away. 80% of what I'd learned in life, there was a academic theory to it. Right?
Yeah.
Now, had I gone and learnt the academic theory first, I would have sucked. Right? But and in fairness, it's why I was awarded the golden keys, because I had all the practical learning. So doing my MBA was actually a walk in the park. But because it was a walk in the park, it didn't mean it was easy. Like, I learned a lot. I was able to qualify and quantify all this 20, 30 years of pain and suffering and pleasure and excitement, and it just made me better. So, I always get asked this question, particularly when I was an adjunct professor at a Sandstone University. I always got asked, what value do you put on academic education? Like, heaps, but it's timing.
Yeah.
Like, I actually think a lot of undergrad degrees, give you practical tools, but you're going to learn them more in the field, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is the biggest profession in the world and the oldest profession is sales, right? And you know that you can't go to university and do a sales degree. It's crazy. And you go, well, why? And that's because academics don't think selling is actually like some kind of prerequisite requirement to life. But yet you can go to university and do some real dumbass majors, and you ask yourself, what was the point of that? Right? And there's probably some kind of philosophical value behind it, but the reality of it is the world has changed, right? And we have changed, and we're changing so rapidly, Simone. And this is where, and I love this conversation about education and learning, because I am a junkie too for learning. But now let me just go and answer your question properly, because I just realized everyone learns differently. So my recommendation, right, is it depends how you learn. So go out and learn how to learn first, right? Some people are audio, which means they want to listen. They want to, some are visual, so they'll watch. So, you go to a Tony Robbins event, you're doing the whole sensory experience, right? There's really no way to hide. But, if you have to sit in the classroom, some people can't do that shit, right? Some people can't read books. The best innovation, I think, of the current century is audiobooks, right? Because anyone who couldn't actually read a book, generally, they also have really shit attention spans. Now, if you're forced to listen to an audiobook through two little headsets and or earbuds, you have to focus. And what you do is you focus it in the Pomodoro method. Do no more than 20 minutes or build up to 20 minutes. I say this to young people who are constantly struggling. Oh, well, I don't like reading and I really can't concentrate. I have dyslexia. Well, so have I, right? And I have ADHD. So I'm double problematic, right? But I can now listen for up to an hour. And how did I do that? I just practiced, and I started with 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's no different to how I started meditation. I couldn't do longer than 2-minute meditation. And I mean, and my meditation guru is like, what is wrong with you? I just can't stay that focused. And now I focus for over an hour.
Yes.
Right? And so it's using a whole bunch of different skills. I see Karim's on here. Karim is an amazing hypnotherapist. And and he's a breakthrough coach. And it's great to have you here, Karim. You know exactly who I'm interviewing tonight because I've told you, and I know that you're super excited because he's like one of your idols. Don't type it in the comments though, because I don't want anyone to know until we launch the podcast.
Karim has actually just sent me a message saying that we're not working on Facebook. It's just a black screen. So
that's fantastic.
thank you, Karim, for jumping over onto LinkedIn to hear us. We will definitely troubleshoot what's happening on Facebook with our connection as well. All right, I know you're really busy and I still have one more question to ask, so let's do this. So question 3 is, this one. I've got a knack for this third question. How do you find the right person or the type of professional development for what you need into your business to propel to success?
Right, and I'm going to need to be quick because I've just realized that I'm meant to be on a call. So look, firstly, you need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. Then you need to know what your goals and priorities are going to be. And then I would always do the love and loathe exercise. What do I love? What do I loathe? Now, I've got a strength-based leadership approach, which means I focus on my strengths and I outsource or delegate all my weaknesses. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't learn my weaknesses, okay? It just means that I spend 80% of my time doing what I excel at and only 20% of those other things that I'm not great at. I use that 20% to manage and lead other people to do them, right? And that's the big secret to why I'm so efficient and why I can have all the companies that I have, advise all the different clients that I have, and still have time for my family and learn and holidays. And, people always ask me, there you go, there's the secret. I've been getting interviewed in newspapers for some 15, 16 years, right? And this is a question I get all the time. How does Lavolsi fit so much in? And they always used to think it was because I didn't sleep. Now, they are right. I only sleep 5 to 6 hours. But the reality of it is, it's what I do with the other hours. But the key is focus on your strengths 80% of the time. So when you know that, right, don't get caught up in the bullshit and the hype of other people, right? The best advisors, the best coaches, they forgo all the bells and whistles as they rely on referrals and not the front-end marketing bullshit, okay? Yeah. That's why we're a big organization that's formed on the no BS approach, okay? I've got no interest. You either like me or not, and that's the last thing. When choosing someone or an organization to consider the fit first. This is absolutely the most critical thing. First who, then what? Will they understand you as a person? Okay. Will they understand your pain points, your pleasure points? Then work with them, get them to help you. Because if you don't have that right fit, nothing will work. Right. And second, and then the next bit to that, look at their credentials. Okay. Proper credentials, not, the School of Hard Knocks. Ask them. If the School of Hard Knocks is where it is, ask them what the School of Hard Knocks means. Ask them about their failures. When you're going to work with someone, interview them as though you would be hiring someone else, right? If someone does that to me, I get excited. I'm like, yes, I want to work with you. You're going to hold me accountable, which means I'm going to deliver results. And then the last thing, ask them for 2 references. You'll be shocked how many people can't give you references, and they'll make every bullshit excuse under the sun. I reckon if you called us and you asked us for 2 references, I'd give you how many, Simone? 20, 30? My clients would all be able to just jump on a call and go, you want to work with this guy? Because that's what they say in their own content, their own videos and everything else. Adrian always says everyone needs a Kristian Lavolsi in their life. And it's very humbling.
I think they'll start saying something else because they don't want to share you with anyone else, actually.
Look, now that we've got Evolve, they can share me with more people because I'm readily available. But look, it's so wonderful. But why? I guess that's what I'm trying to say here is the why behind it is I truly love doing what I do. I do it for myself, but I do it for those that love what I do, right? I'm rejigging contracts for 2023 with my one-on-one clients. And because we're not really taking on more one-on-one work, it's all now in Evolve, right? And I turn around and say to people all the time, I truly love it, but I can see better benefits for you. And for me, people want me to they want to be with me all the time, right? It's that, as you say in the team, it's the energy, right? And that's what we know the next 3 days are going to be amazing, right? And I just hope I can shake off this little kind of whatever it is that I've got. I mean, I know I've got Tracy telling me, think positively, intent, you're not unwell, right? It's like, and I'm like, I don't feel great, right? But the thing is, there's a lot of other things going on in my life. But the true thing is, I love what I do. And I have the credentials. And that's what I'm saying. When you're looking for someone, go to someone who loves what they do and can also do it for themselves. There's so many companies out there that have never, ever done anything other than got someone else to give them a cookie cutter approach. And then they've been really good marketers and they market their product, but it doesn't actually serve you. Right. And I reckon some of these people, and some of these are my competitors, and they're massive. They've got millions of followers. I reckon once upon a time when they were nimble, they were amazing. And then they realized they couldn't serve everybody like that anymore. And that's why I don't have this glorious ambition of serving millions of people at the same time. My philosophy around it is I'll keep writing books. Those books will then serve some people. I'll write courses. They'll also say, how you kind of went through those three areas. Well, I'm assuming you did that because we do all three. And the reality of it is that I do that not because I want this brand. It's I know I can't serve everybody. Not everybody can afford me at one-on-one rates. So we built Evolve so people could get a little closer to that, right? Because you know better than anyone, I want to help those people that need the help. I can't help myself. That's me by nature. And I mean, my first jam was this morning in Adrian's mastermind at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm constantly helping everybody else. And why? Because I love it. And the feedback that we get, it's just awesome. Now, that's what you want, right? So to answer your question, you want to find someone that can speak with this much passion, this much enthusiasm, this much purpose, and then don't take their charisma for it, right? Actually ask them, okay, give me a couple of people that I'm happy that are prepared to speak to you. And then vet those people before you call them. So you don't look like a complete idiot when you're speaking to them. And on top of that, have a look at their credentials. Ask them what they've done, right? Not just academically, not professionally, but what they've done in life. And ask them, where have you failed? And if they tell you a terrible failure experience that is actually bullshit, you don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
Right? Like someone who hasn't failed can't actually help you get to where you want to get to. And people are going to disagree with me. There's going to be people now cursing me, other professionals saying that's crap. Mate, no one's successful, right, made it through to their success without failing. And if they're not prepared to talk about their failure experience, no matter how big or how small, it means they can't self-reflect. They have very little self-awareness, which means they've got terrible emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
That means they're never going to understand you. Okay? People first.
That's
first
it.
through, then what? All right, I better run. I know that one of my team is waiting for me.
Thank you very much for your time. Now you are running a little bit late. We're in Sydney for the next couple of days, so please reach out to us for a DM. We might see you around while you're over here in Sydney. I definitely will. But have a great day, and thank you to all our listeners. We'll see you next week live on the hot seat on Thursday.
Karim, I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.